Hello, social workers, mental health professionals, and change agents. Welcome to season number 6 of the Social Work Rants podcast. I'm your host, Bash Moreno. Saludos a todos. Greetings, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, tapping in wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. We appreciate all the love and support. Gracias a todos por su apoyo. Definitely continue to tune in, tap in. I can't believe it's already season 6, 3 years in of the podcast. So I appreciate all the love and support. Definitely tune in, tap in on IG at the Social Work Rants Podcast. That's all one word. On Twitter at Social Work Rants, and hit that like button on Facebook, aka Meta, at type in the Social Work Rants Podcast. Hit that like button. This episode is brought to you by Bass City Entertainment, your home for holistic online self-care featuring poetry and Zumba classes featuring my poetry book, Trying Through Pain, How to Maximize Your Full Potential During Hard Times, available on Amazon. And also, I'll put the link in the show notes so you can get personalized autographs through a special link as well. And also, the second hottest book of 2022, Latinx and Social Work, Volume 2, is available in English and Spanish. Amazon #1 bestseller, 2 days after release. And I have today one of my fellow co-authors of the book, Budy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Beth. Thank you so much for having me here.
No, absolutely. We gonna get right into it. For those who don't
Let's
know,
get into it.
for those that don't know who you are and what you do in our amazing yet challenging field of social work, let people know who you are.
Hi, so I am Budy Whitfield. I have been a licensed clinical social worker for almost going on 18 years. I've been in the field that long, working. I have my own private practice, Beauteous Mind PLLC. It is serving those who are looking to really heal, mostly people of color who have stigmas or histories of trauma. And so I specialize in a lot of trauma work, anxiety and depression. I've been in the field working in child welfare as well, serving children and families, reunification, residential, etc. So been there for for quite some time, and I still don't have a gray hair. So I say that, I think it's been a good run then.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
My chinny chin chin. If I don't shave, I look like Ron Isley with the with the beard. So,
Exactly. I'm also going to put in a plug as well. Besides being a co-author, I am a speaker. I do have a podcast called Beauteous Me Podcast, and I'm also a coach. So I have a coaching program, coaching women who have limiting beliefs.
oh, awesome. Tell more about that, because I see, I follow a lot of people who focus on women, and rightly so. As women are definitely under
Yeah.
marginalized, especially women of color, Latino, Latinx, Latinx women, especially with everything going on with immigration's been a hot topic for years, and I mean it's not just us that are immigrating into the U.S., but the media likes to focus on us immigrants. But what do you see? What are you seeing in your line of work? What are you doing specifically with the women that you serve?
So I'll tell you. So a lot of women have what we call gremlins. Gremlins are limiting beliefs. These are the beliefs that you are not good enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, not this. So these are the words, these gremlins can take over your entire life. And so when you have the perception that you're not good enough at something, you're showing up at work, you're not going for promotions, you're not doing certain things because you feel you're not good enough or you're not worthy. It's the same thing that applies into your relationships and into your finances. So if you don't feel good enough or worthy enough, or you came from any kind of backgrounds with money mindset, you struggle with that. When you struggle with feeling like you should reach a certain level in your finances, or not be in debt, etc., because you don't feel worthy of. And so when we work on your limiting beliefs, what we're doing is we're targeting where it's coming from, where these beliefs have stemmed from, whether you heard it from religion, school, from your own home, TV, whatever influences that you've had. Trauma also impacts that. What
Right.
we do is we kind of go deep rooting into finding out where those stemmed from and then trying to alternate those thoughts, because the more you have those thoughts, the more those thoughts impact you. And so everyone is like an AKA survivor of limiting beliefs, right? So the I'm not worthy. So myself as a trauma survivor, it's the I'm not worthy enough. And so when you think about the I'm not worthy, I had a coach tell me, my coach told me actually a few weeks ago, she was like, why are you stalling and getting up to this level with your business? She's like, is it a fear of, or is it that you don't feel worthy of? And that kind of struck out for me, where it was just like, wow, I thought I did some kind of work in it. So when you work through these things, and what I do is I use a cognitive behavioral therapy approach in order to really assess where those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors come into play and how they impact you. So in essence, with the coaching program, we really go through an 8-week course where we're diving into these thoughts. And once we've identified these thoughts, we go into replacing these negative thoughts, but then we also go into some of the goals that you have, like your biggest vision that you've had of yourself, and how do you get there, and what do you have to do in order to get there? Because what happens is when we limit ourselves, limiting belief, we don't believe we can get to that next level.
No, absolutely. Is that kind of from your perspective? Is that kind of similar to like imposter syndrome, or you go even more deeper than that?
It goes even deeper than imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome shows up in certain spaces, mostly work related, mostly maybe social related, depending on social statuses. But that is mostly related to like your deep rooted belief about yourself. And so if you think, again, I'm going to use myself as an example, the I perspective as I am a trauma survivor, I am not worthy enough. And so I go on, and even in my past and past relationships that I was going into, they weren't relationships that were of value, of worth of me, because I didn't feel that worth of myself.
Mm. No, that's very powerful. Now you think COVID has, or the impact of COVID made things even harder, or maybe not, maybe for you in your work, but also has COVID impacted like the women that you serve, and if so, what way? In what way?
So I think COVID sat everyone down. COVID le dio un tate quieto to everyone. And it was like, you either have to sink or swim, and we got to figure this out. And what I have seen from COVID is a lot of people did some deep diving and self reflection into themselves, and looking at some of these patterns and behaviors that they've consistently had, and felt like it was the right time to start either therapy with me or to be mentored or coached. And that's because you kind of sit in a cycle and a pattern where you're just tired of the same behaviors. So when you're busy, the hustle and bustle, the having to take the train, the bus, go to work, come back, and this and that, you're not able to kind of think of things because you're just going through like a well-oiled machine. You're just
Right.
going through the processes, everything is status quo. But when you have to sit down and everything shifts and changes, then you start sitting and reflecting. This is why they were saying like there were higher divorce rates. People were like,
Mhm.
well, maybe, I don't think I really liked you, where people were really evaluating things and situations, where I feel like there was like an awakening, but also a collective trauma that was going on. So an awakening that people felt like, oh, maybe it's the time for me to get the help now. But the collective trauma that was happening kind of also shifted things into perspective. So either it made people's mental illnesses worse, or either people took it upon themselves to make it better. So there was like this collective force that was going on. And what we have seen, and I think a lot of clinicians have seen, is that there's been an increase in more people seeking therapy, because it's little by little starting to become a little more normalized. It is still a stigma in the Black and Brown community, but it is being normalized. And the ones that I see looking for therapy or seeking therapy more without like any vergüenza are the 20, 30 year olds. It's still the ones in like their late 30s and 40s who are just like, all right, I gotta start therapy, but I'm not really sure about it.
Right. No, I definitely see that. In your 20s to 30s, definitely more receptive to it, and it's definitely the stigma is kind of like breaking little by little, and you know,
Hmm.
um, unfortunately, people want to stress mental health when a celebrity passes away and stuff like that. That really everybody want to talk about
Exactly.
it, but you and I and people we know, we've been doing the work for a long time. It's like it's been happening, yeah. And I just want to talk about it
It's been happening, yeah.
because it's trendy
Just that
or
everything is more visible now, right?
no, yeah.
Exactly. Everything is more visible now. Murders, police shootings,
Hmm.
you name it, crimes, everything is much more visible because everything is much more recorded. Before, things were happening a little bit more on closed doors where you wouldn't know what someone was experiencing in their household.
Matter of course.
Secret.
Everybody's like, get your phone out, record it, record it, record. So it's like
Exactly.
it's out there. There's all these different apps and like Citizen app and all this other stuff that's like you're gonna know something like in real time, or people do dumb stuff and they
Exactly.
go live and they doing something they're not supposed to be doing. So it's just
Yeah.
it's a lot of overload. It's like go on social media and already see like something like dramatic. It's like 7:30, 8 o'clock. All right, I'm done for the day. You haven't even got to work
Yeah.
yet, and
Exactly.
you're already like
Exactly.
traumatized because you saw something crazy. So
Yep.
it's a lot, definitely a lot going on, and I don't think we mentally we're able to have that capacity to really have this set kind of like sensory overload. Is like you watch the news and it's like it's always like some drama with the news. You go on your phone and it's like
Yep.
either somebody died or it's like a big fight happened or some
Yeah.
police shooting, involved shooting, or a celebrity dying. Is like something. So
Yeah.
there's like always something.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot going on. Um, Let me touch on real quick. Tell me about your podcast before we get into the book and your amazing chapter.
Yeah, so the Beauteous Me podcast is a collection of healing stories, if you will. So all of the guests that have been on the podcast have shared their story. I always ask, that's the first question I always ask my guests to share your story. So how they've overcome whatever it is, whether it's been trauma, whether it's been a bad relationship, finances, having a spiritual awakening, shifting into different spiritual beliefs because of whatever experiences that they've had. Really triumphant stories of healing where they want to share with the listeners on how they've overcome that and providing them tools and resources. So I always ask them, give the listeners some tools or resources. I've also had authors come in and sharing their story. Again, it's their story on what they've experienced. It's literally taking you a place of complacency to resiliency. So the podcast is really there to motivate others and to provide them tools and resources that they need in order to continue to grow.
No, that's beautiful. I definitely gotta check it out. add,
Yes,
add,
yes.
add something else on the list.
Exactly.
So the book Latinx and social Latinx Latinx get it correct.
Latinx, Latine, yes.
In social work volume 2. Um, make if you haven't and without sounding biased, but sounding biased at the same time. If you haven't
You
read
got to
this
get the
book,
book.
you got to get the book.
That's it.
Period.
You got to get the
Period.
book and you have to read it. Yep.
From front to back is just powerful, and it's great reading it because obviously like we met like just a couple times,
Yeah.
and then to from meet and greets to read something so personal was like, oh snap, and it's like kind of takes you back, like
Yeah.
like kind of like, oh snap, this is powerful for somebody to really share, like that I don't even know, but we share a space. That
Yeah.
this book is forever, so it's like I would be part of something so great, and the event was great. I've been anxious from the day it was announced what date it was. It was like how I'm gonna make this happen, like
Yeah.
how many days I need to take from work. So it was like anxiety driven event, but it was beautiful, a
It
great
was
turn.
beautiful.
It was a great turnout. Meeting so many young social work students, and just meeting everybody finally, like face to face instead of
Yeah. Yeah.
IG
Via
live or
Zoom.
Zoom or listen to a
Right.
podcast or something. So it's like really amazing. Now your chapter, thriving in chaos, page 217.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thriving in chaos. Yep.
so so for those who haven't gotten the book, give a little taste on what your chapter is about.
Yeah, so I will say that writing this chapter was really hard because it was the very first time I opened up and discussed my brother's passing. My brother passed of a drug overdose in 2008. No, 2009. Um, and so it was really, really hard and devastating for the family because it's something that no one would have ever, ever, ever expected. And so having to kind of expose those family secrets as to how we got to where we were and where we are right now was really difficult, because this was my story to share, but obviously everyone else has a different version or a different story of my brother's passing, but
Right.
this is what was from my lens. But seeing how much some of that's just a snippet of like a bit of a trauma that my family experienced, but my own personal traumas, and seeing how much I've thrived in chaos and at times still thrive in chaos and that addiction to busyness and having to kind of
Mhm.
do
Right.
um has been hard because it's like I really can't, I'll share with this part. Thriving in chaos really came from a therapy session with my therapist when we're doing EMDR, we're doing a lot of like inner healing with my past traumas. And I'm addicted to that busyness. So I have my full time, I have my private practice, I have a podcast, I have coaching, I have, whatever speaking engagements. I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm posting on social media and I'm trying to be, I have a father who's really sick with Alzheimer's and heart disease and being there and with the sibling. And so it's like being pulled in so many different directions,
Mhm.
that you don't realize that you're busy. And
Yeah.
because you're so used to busy,
Yeah.
you don't even realize that that's not even that healthy. And so when she was like, "Have you ever realized that you thrive in chaos?" I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" Say that again. Run back at me. It was interesting because it really sat down with me where it was just like, wow, this has been my life. I have literally been thriving in chaos. And that has been like, not that a word that I'm claiming, but it's been my story.
Mhm.
And it's been something that I've been more mindful of when I'm starting to see the busyness and my body's like, all right, sis, sit down. I'm recognizing and saying, all right, this is the thriving in chaos. Relax yourself, relax yourself, relax yourself.
And
Yeah.
no, that's so real, especially growing up in New York. That's be like
The hustle and
that
bustle,
is
right?
just a natural hustle and bustle. And if you see somebody walking slow or whatever, it's like get out the way. Like you're walking too slow, get out the way.
And
Or you
and I think not only that, I think it even goes deeper into like being a first generation
Mhm.
immigrant, child of immigrant. It's like they've hustled and bustled. And so you kind of picked up on that. Like that's the way of life, is that you have to have this consistent busyness.
Yeah, I don't know where exactly I got I got it from. I guess just from COVID, kind of like reset, and it's like you know having some money here, like having like these little money multiple streams of income that one disappeared. I was like, okay, now I need to find like the next
Yeah.
one and what exactly that's going to be, and learning stuff and just moving to a new state, home, everything, and then like finally having like my dad moving in with me, and it's like dealing with that, like same thing. I'm like podcasting. I've had like 5 social work jobs during this whole pandemic, so it's like
Yeah.
I'm always on the go, and like wrote wrote 2 books this year, and it's like I got married this year while writing the book, so it's like always like on the go. It's like what like what's next? So it's
Yep.
kind of already like in our genes. Like there's no slowing down. Like even like last year,
But there needs to be some
yes,
slowdown though.
yeah,
Even though, yeah,
your
yeah.
body would be like,
Your body will tell you. Your body will be like, siéntate.
like pass out on the couch and be like next morning.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
definitely need to the slowdown needs to happen for everybody. But it goes back to like people going to like grad school and people who got to work or
Mhm.
juggle internship. They got to work a full time. Myself, I had a full time job going to an internship and had a had my son and like night duty called waking up and like doing the feedings and changing diapers in the middle of the night and
Yeah.
doing so it's like it's always that grind is like always there, and it's like it's almost like the American way.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Unfortunately.
like it no more.
No, not at all. No, but thank you for sharing, that that piece. I know that how was that like sitting down and writing, and I know like with like
I
editing and all
cried.
that.
I cried. I had a lot of anxiety. I cried. I had to pick it up and put it back down a few times. I cried because that was hard. That was hard to, obviously it's been 13 years that my brother has passed, and it's still the pain is softer. I would say that's what happens with grief. The pain is softer as the years go by, but the pain is still there. The shoulda, coulda, wouldas are still there, that they creep up sometimes, even though the wise mind says there's no shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but there's still the emotional mind wants to come up with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and I could have saved, and I could have done this, and what if.
No, yeah, that's just natural. Even with my own story,
Mm.
like think about what is, or like all this other stuff, and like I did I did what I could, and my story is still evolving as the kids get
Yeah,
older, and it's like
yeah,
so it is life, and it's like our stories, and it comes with the territory. Life just has a
yeah,
funny way to be like, all right, this happened to you, but you gotta like there's always like the next thing that's happening, next thing you got to do, and there's still bills that need to be paid. It's still you got other family members to care for, worry about. If you got kids, you worry about taking care of the kids, and it's like
yeah,
their homework, their school
yeah,
stuff, and it's like so it keeps going.
yeah,
It's just one day at a time,
basically.
just one day at a time. That's what you can do.
Exactly, exactly.
Now you got something else going on, continuing the hustle and the bustle is your summit that's about to
Yeah,
pop
so
off.
January 21st, 2023, from 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be having my second summit. It is the summit of the year. This summit is really touching on your 8 dimensions of wellness. So we're talking about finances, we're talking about emotional, um, working on your emotional, spiritual growth and development. We're going to have somebody talking about vision boarding and how do you work on really creating the best vision board for yourself, because you'd be surprised that some people don't know how to do it. Health and fitness, and looking your best in 2023. And so this summit is really to inspire you. If you think about your New Year's resolution. Everyone has a New Year's resolution. I want to lose 5 pounds. I'm going to save $10,000 and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Right. But we
Right.
don't have the action. We don't have like SMART goals, if you will. And so with this summit and why I do it right at the beginning of the year is because it gives you some time after that little fake New Year high of, yeah, 2023 is going to be my year, or this year is going to be my year, for you to really sit and listen to folks to give you the tools and resources to truly make 2023 your best year, to truly use a lot of the tools and resources to really touch on your wellness, because that is important. You have to start off the year hitting the ground running so that you could hit momentum and really kind of capture whichever one of those goals. If you want to be intentional and focus on one goal, then hopefully one of the speakers can help you manifest and master that.
Oh, that's dope. That how you selling tickets already, or how can people
Yeah,
get
so
involved?
we're gonna be finalizing. Yeah, so we were just waiting for some speakers to finalize some stuff to do the promotion. So that'll be coming up soon. And I'll give you the link so that you can post it for the tickets. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm like already like
Yeah.
setting aside dates for possible conferences and
Yes,
events
and it's,
already.
yeah, exactly. And it's virtual, so you could, watch it from the comfort of your home.
Nice. How is it setting up summit?
It takes months and months of planning. So literally, once the summit is done, a month later, we're doing, we send the survey out just to kind of get a capture of what people liked, what people didn't like, what we could improve upon. And so by the summer, I'm already planning for the summit again, back in January. So I made it my first one. I did it like as a leap of faith. I felt something in my heart that was like, I want to do a summit, and I did it, and I was like, oh wow, this was great. So now I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make this an annual thing. Like this is my thing to really continue to help heal. My mission is obviously, in social work where we go in and we want to like heal the world, but we know that if we transformed one person, you've transformed many. And that is my goal, is that whoever participates and attends, and whichever one of the speakers connects with you, if you've transformed one person, you've transformed many. And that is my goal, is for us to really collectively just heal from all of these vicarious traumas, collective traumas, individual traumas, and experiences that everyone is going through.
But that's amazing. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'll definitely
Hey,
reshare whatever links or anything when tickets go on sale. So I already got it. I already got the date on my
perfect.
phone
Yeah.
set aside. So
Yeah, I have to keep honing in because I do have people from California speaking. So I'm like, Eastern Standard Time.
yes,
Yeah.
I definitely go through it with the podcast. Or what is it, Eastern Standard Time? Like it's, what
Yeah.
time zone you're in? So
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
what what is it that you're not doing? Because you're doing a whole lot.
What am I not doing? I haven't been working out this week. So how about that? How about that? That's what I'm not doing. That's what I need to be focusing on. It's like, when I'm taking care of myself physically, I feel so much better. But when it gets cold in the morning, and you want to stay a little bit more in the warm
When it
blanket.
was like
But
7
I'll
degrees. Say, you ain't
yeah,
going
the way
anywhere.
it's been cold, exactly. Exactly. You just want to be in your bed and then just like jump in and take a shower and come back and
As-
run to work.
exactly. That's it.
Exactly.
And people getting hit with all this crazy snow that's been happening, and it's like
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, that was so sad what's been going on in the Erie County. Yeah.
Um, describe, and it's not a one word answer, unless it could be a one word answer, but describe 2022 for you.
Oh, 2020 through too. Do you see how I said through? Because I'm too through with 2022. I said 2020 through? Yeah, through with it. Uh 2022 was trying. It was really trying. I had, personal stuff going on. I had to take leave from work because I worked in a residential, was assaulted a few times by some different kids, and like I had to take the time off, for my own mental health. Um Family stuff. My son went away to college. My father almost passed away on us. Like it's like so many different things. But I also can reflect and look back and be like, hey, I traveled 5 times in 2022. I did my first international speaking engagement. I did my first virtual summit. I took my first um weekend getaway by myself to like this really beautiful like yoga retreat resort in New York and just like work, just focused on myself. So there was a lot of different beautiful pockets. I met amazing people, you guys, like from Latinx and social work, something that I don't think I ever would have connected. And I know a lot of the different authors we kind of connected and talked about it that unfortunately in with Latino social workers and especially people trying to climb up the ladder, it becomes sometimes, and I don't want to give a bad name to all of us, but sometimes there's this like crabs in a barrel mentality.
Hmm.
And I found myself that I really didn't connect a lot with um, a lot of Latino social workers and connected in like professional spaces. Like I would know you, hey, here referrals, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. We went to school
Right.
together. But outside of that, there was not that community and connection. And so even if I've been invited and be like, hey, join the LCSW, hey, join this, I'd be like, nah, I'm good, because um you've kind of experienced those things, but I'm grateful that Erica was able to kind of bring everyone together because I said no to her a few times for the book. I was like, no. And then I ended up, I was like, all right, fine, I'm gonna go ahead and doing it. And you know what? I don't regret it because I feel like even with our group chats where, when I was going through my stuff with my dad, everyone
Mm.
was like, hey, saying a prayer for your dad, or if there's resources, or how do you do this, or how do you do that? Like just that community has been so helpful. I've had to learn to also, because I'm an introvert extrovert, so I can be very much of an extrovert, and I also could be just an introvert, and depending on people's energies. But
Right.
the past 2 years, I want to say, once I've stepped into like, different coaching programs and group coaching programs, I've allowed myself to be a little bit, if you will, more vulnerable in building different communities. And I'm grateful for that. So I have this community, there's like, other communities that I can send messages to or whatever, and which feel really supportive. So I'm grateful for that. But it was hard. I as a Latina, I would say like you wouldn't have caught me. Even though it was a desire, it's always been a desire for me to be like part of these different organizations or whatever. But for some
Hmm.
reason, I don't know why. I think, and again, I've shared this with even different authors, like we've had these conversations that I don't know why it's like we walk into these spaces and sometimes it's not like let's join together and let's do this together. It's more of like you can't get it through and this and
Exactly.
this and that.
Yeah.
It's not community. And I'm grateful that Erica took a spin to it and has made it a community for us. Um and that feels good because in other spaces again I've just if I don't feel your energy, then I'll walk out and I'm fine. I could do my own thing.
Why'd you say no a couple of times?
Because I had done another group book like literally a few months later, and I was still like processing from that experience, which was,
Mm.
an intense experience. I was just like, oh my God, to go through this process again. She was like, trust me, it's gonna be different. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. And then, I caved in. I was like, all right, fine, I'll do
I,
it.
when I
Yeah.
when I saw like all the men in the book, I was like, where all these men, Latinx men been?
Right?
I, I've had,
Hmm.
this was like the most Latino men I've seen in 20
Yeah.
years in social work. I
In
was
the
like,
field, right?
I
Yeah.
was like, where? I mean,
Where you been at?
exactly. I can literally count on one hand. I don't think I still have fingers left over, like the amount of Latino men I've like interacted with in the field who are doing
Yeah.
the work, but to see everybody in one shot, everybody sharing their story, and sharing space. Like,
Yeah.
it was a beautiful thing, and our group chat is popping. We gotta have like sub
Yeah.
like subgroups
Yeah.
just to because it's too much.
Just to keep up. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Other than your
Yeah, so
summit,
the summit 2023, you know what? I'm going in with I sent an email blast to my email listing, and I asked them to come up with your theme word for 2023. And that is my goal, is to so my theme word is forgiveness. So forgiveness in anything. It's like not just a person, a particular thing, but being more forgiving of myself with mistakes, forgiving of others, forgiving of situations where we kind of like just hold on to so much animosity or anger, like even the most smallest thing, a flight that's delayed, this
mhm,
like just kind of releasing and letting go and being more intentional. So I'm really walking into 2023 with an open mind, an open heart, just to see what comes up and what receives in it. So I have the summit in March. We're going to Texas and see whatever comes up. You know.
yeah, looking I'm looking forward to Texas. I definitely gotta order a new Giants hat just for Texas. I already hit up
Yeah.
I already hit up a friend of mine that live out there as a teacher. I was like, guess who's finally coming to Dallas? Let's finally link up. So, and by the way, I'm doing the summit, so
Yeah.
you need to come. So, so,
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to see. I just leave it in God's hands. Whatever I already put, whatever
Hmm.
I wanted out in the existence, and let God does His magic,
Exactly.
and we keep rocking and rolling one day at a time.
Exactly. Exactly. Walking in without any control, because 2022, which I'm through with, just showed me that
Yeah,
all kinds of plans could get shift, you know?
yeah. I'm limping my way to the finish line. I had a good year, but I'm limping. I'm limping towards the end. So it's like, coño, ¿qué pasó? Like I had a good year. Why all this craziness happening at the end? But it's all
Yeah,
good. It's
yeah.
just
A few
life.
more days, a few more days. Hmm. Yeah. A few more days of it.
Absolutely. So where can people find you? If people want to get in contact with you.
Yeah, so you guys could contact me on my Instagram. I'm more active in Instagram than anything. It's at I am BeauTeous me. I am Beauteous Me. That's one of my pages. My therapy page is at Beauteous Mind underscore PLLC. So BeauteousMind underscore PLLC. You can find me on LinkedIn under Budy Whitfield, BudyWhitfield. And I'm very responsive, so connect with me.
Awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming on. It's great talking to you again.
Thank you so much.
Um, I'm a phone call, email, message away. If you need anything,
Yeah, thank you.
anything, by all means, hit me up.
Yeah. I know I appreciate you, Beth, and thank you so much for the opportunity and for being here and sharing this space with you.
Absolutely.